want to show you something that is very, very old and very rare. This is an old Diehl, or Diehl, D-I-E-H-L, I believe is how it's pronounced, or the name is here. Diehl Electro kitchen clock, or desk clock. This thing goes back to the 1950s. I found this at a garage sale many, many years ago. And it's been sitting around. I've been meaning to do something with it, and now I'm going to do something with it. As you can see, it's actually running, but that's only because I wound it up manually. And what makes this clock completely unique is the way that the mechanism operates. And I guarantee you've probably never seen something like this before. What's happened on this is someone let a battery corrode. So it's pretty ugly. I've got the working covers off here so I can work on the mechanism here, but basically what we've got on this is we've got a little electric motor that winds up the spring, and basically how it does it is every time the gear in behind here, this is the winding gear, there's a little spring in here and there's a gear in behind, and every time it makes one revolution, it drops this little pin down, which this controls a switch by just basically moving one of the contacts away from the brushes, one of the brushes away from the stator unit, the rotary stator. So it drops down, that completes the circuit, and then the motor turns on, winds the unit up, one revolution, which will then raise that contact up again and stop the motor. And once the clock makes one more rotation, there's another gear underneath here that will move this. This is the stopper. And once it makes one revolution, this will drop again. It'll repeat the process, and away we go. Now you can see time has not been very kind to this unit. It's going to need a lot of work if I want to restore this thing, which is the name of the game. It's actually functional. As you can see, the balance is turning, the balance spring and everything's good. So that's a good sign that the corrosion has not gotten into the actual workings of the clock. The damage has all been confined to the battery compartment. And when I put continuity on it, I have no continuity from the bottom contact here, and it looks like the reason why is because it's completely corroded right there. So I have no power. So if I'm able to restore the negative terminal here so that at least I can make a connection onto the battery, I may be able to get this thing at least functional so I can demonstrate it, and then we'll work on cleaning this up. But that's what I'm going to try right now, is I'm just going to try cleaning up this contact a bit down here, get this corrosion off of here. When I got this thing, and I've had this clock, I'm trying to remember how many years I've had this thing, but I bought this back in the 60s at a garage sale in the neighborhood, and I think I probably paid 50 cents or something for it. And it worked at the time, but it was all corroded at the time. It was in this condition. And I used the thing, I had it for forever. This thing was sitting in my bedroom when I was a kid forever. And then the battery got taken out of it, and it got put away, and it got just stuck in a closet, and it sat there for 40 odd years until we're doing some cleaning up at my parents' house, and lo and behold, I found this thing, and I rescued it before it went in the garbage, and now we're going to fix this thing and restore it. So I'm going to get working on this thing here so that I can clean this terminal up, and we'll see if we can get this motor working. This time I'll just try my wire brush and see whether I can shine this contact up enough to make it get a connection. Let's just see whether we've been able to clean this thing up enough that we can make an actual connection. You can actually see some copper here now, so maybe we've got enough copper exposed that it will make a connection. I've put the dust cover back on here just to keep dust out of the mechanism while I'm working on it, because I don't need any more in there than there already is. The balance wheel is barely working. So let's just put the battery back in and see whether it will work this time. It's almost ready to go. If you watch this little lever here, this will start to move momentarily when it catches up with it. And it looks like it's, I'm looking at the piece on the bottom. You can probably see it approaching, and you'll see this thing in operation momentarily if it works. Okay, as you can see, the switch is starting to move here, and momentarily this is going to drop down, complete the circuit, and when this little pin drops down, the motor should come on, and it should make one revolution and wind up the spring by one revolution. And that is how it works. This unit is now fixed. I'm going to put the plastic cover back on it now. So you've got a little adjustment here for adjusting the speed. That's what this little lever, this little wheel is for. That adjusts the speed correction for if it's fast or slow. Put that back on. Put the other screw back in here and put the time set knob back on. I'm going to set the time on this and see how good it keeps time. I got to probably lubricate the shaft here. I'm going to just trying to get my I'm going to get my buffer in here and just clean up some of this mess. Just get here, get some of this corrosion out of here. Well, we're going to clean the clock, the inside of the clock here, and then we'll re-glue down the number that fell off. The 12 fell off. I think the 6 had fallen off before because I don't see it in here, but the nice brass 12 just fell off. But once we get this clean, we'll put it back on. Might as well, since I've got it apart, I might as well clean the we have to get some polish to try and bring up the shine on this thing. It's quite badly tarnished. But let's get the hands back on this thing first of all. And of course it stopped. There we go, just give it a shake. And away it goes. I'm going to glue this 12 back on here. I'm just going to get some crazy glue. We'll glue the little 12 back on there. The 6 is gone. It's not in the cabinet, so I don't know what happened to the 6, but put the 12 back on there. We'll get the glass back on and see how well this thing keeps time. Ready to put the glass back in. I know the glass has got a few chips in it, but at least it's clean. Put the glass back in, we can put the top on. And put the little precision brass screws back in. Yep, looks like it's getting ready to go. If I zoom the camera in, you can see the switch is about ready to release here. You can see the mechanism here. It's just about ready to. There you go. That's cool. That's just a cool sound, the way that thing works. Hope you enjoyed this look back at a really unique, rare, old mechanical battery power clock with a metric winding system. Thanks for watching.